NXT starts off with Rich Holland. Rich Holland ends up coming out, and the way he did this was great. He ends up playing the Chase U theme music, and he ends up coming out, tricking everyone into thinking Chase U was going to come out, but it ends up being him, getting the fans disappointed. Really great heel work. I love what they did there. And then he just kept it simple. He just mentioned Trick Williams and talked about how he's coming for him at Deadline. Nothing too major, but this was very simple. Didn't need to do too much. This was really good. I'm enjoying Ridge Holland's heel run, man. Ridge Holland has definitely improved. He keeps improving each and every week. And I'm actually excited for the match. I'm actually excited. Now, to be fair, the actual in-ring work can be a bit questionable. Ridge Holland isn't bad. He's a solid in-ring worker. It's just that having Trick Williams and Ridge in the same match is like two guys who aren't great. They're not guys who are going to carry someone to a great match. They're more guys who kind of, I wouldn't say they need to be carried, but they're not going to be the main reason why a match is amazing, if that makes sense. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this match plays out and to see if the match can actually be really good with those two wrestlers in the ring. But nonetheless, this was really good. This was a good way to open the show, and Red Allen has been killing it as a heel, in my opinion. After this, we end up getting Ethan Page versus Axiom, Iron Survivor. I cannot speak. Iron Survivor qualifying match. This match was really good. This was a really good match, but Ethan Page ends up picking up the victory. Not gonna speak too much on it. This was a really solid match, but Ethan Page ends up picking the victory, advancing, going to the Iron Survivor. But in Axiom, of course, will get another chance because they always do the what is it? The last chance Iron Survivor call. I forgot what they call it, but basically he's going to get another chance with all the people that lost in some type of I think it's normally a triple threat match if I'm not mistaken, or a fatal four-way match to be able to get his last opportunity to be in the last spot. But after this though is the main thing. They end up doing the typical, thing of where every person in the match is going to come out. It starts off with Ethan Page getting interviewed. Then Nathan interferes because he's in the match. They go back and forth, but then Ethan Page starts trying to have Axiom and Nathan have more friction than they already do. Because Nathan ends up mentioning how he's not going to beat him in the Iron Survivor, but then Ethan Page ends up saying that he just got done beating his teammate, who is the one that is the main reason why y'all are tag titles anyway, and that he's the driving force of the tag team. Nathan ends up getting upset, ends up saying he's not, but then he ends up looking at Axiom because Axiom was, of course, looking concerned and looking about to be frustrated. But Nathan tries to make up to Axiom, but then out of nowhere, Wesley ends up coming out in the middle of this. He comes out, says a few words, then Javon comes out, says a few words. Then you end up getting the tag team division. Out of nowhere, they come out, like all the tag teams come out and start brawling. Now, they've been doing this for a while where they just have the tag teams constantly attack each other. Now, I will say this. It's been somewhat cool, but man, it took so long for them to, well, I would say so long. This has only been a thing for like 2 to 3 weeks. But they finally gave what they're going to finally do for the tag teams, because I like them all brawling, but we did need something more, because as cool as it is, we still don't know these tag teams that well outside of Nathan and Axiom, because those tag teams just don't get TV time. So when they're brawling, it's cool, but I just didn't care because it's like, I don't know these tag teams like that because you don't showcase them. But it's going to be a battle royal next week to determine who will be the number one contender for Axiom, Nathan and Axiom at Deadline. So we finally got some confirmation on that. So thank you. I don't know who's going to win the battle royal because, like I said, they haven't been building up neither tag team. So I can't even give a really good prediction. The main one we've been seeing is Gallus and OTM. Those are the main two we've been seeing. So maybe one of them. But overall, I'm excited to see how that plays out and see who will be the one facing Nathan Axiom for the NXT tag titles at Deadline. After this, we had a quick segment with Ashanti and Nikita and Carmen. Ashanti was talking about what happened last week. Nikita was talking about, the text message he sent, but Ashanti was like, look, he wants to focus on Carmen. He wants to be with Carmen, and that, he was interested at first, but not anymore. But then Carmen ends up overhearing. She gets frustrated, and then she ends up walking away. Now, next week is going to be Nikita versus Carmen next week. So I'm assuming Ashanti is going to come out during that match, and they're going to continue that story. this story, like I said, it's very goofy, it's very silly, but I actually enjoy this story for whatever reason. But it's actually entertaining to me. But I'm interested to see how that plays out. After this, though, we end up getting Shawn Spears versus Tony D'Angelo for the North American Championship. Not gonna speak too much on this match. Tony D'Angelo ends up winning. Now I will say this: he ends up winning by the main way I hate how babyfaces win, which is a injury angle. Because during this match, Tony D'Angelo ends up getting exposed to having a leg injury. And during this entire match, Shawn Spears keeps attacking the leg, but somehow Tony D'Angelo overcomes the odds. And it's not like he cheated or it was some type of interference. No, he won cleanly here, which is the main thing I hate. Because it's like, why? Like, did we really need an injury angle for Tony D'Angelo of all people? Like, you could have just had him beat Shawn Spears cleanly, and then what happens afterwards would make more sense. Because what happened afterwards is basically they try to attack him, but they get overpowered, and then some guy named Nico that they've been hanging out with ends up taking out Tony D'Angelo. So the feud isn't over, but why? Why did you could have had this same thing happen? It would have actually made more sense. No offense to Shawn Michaels, this would have made more sense if Shawn Spears lost cleanly without the injury angle. Because who is going to because I can't believe none of them are going to dethrone him now. Shawn Spears had some credibility to the degree where I could kind of believe it if built up right. But there's no way you're going to build this up right now. He just lost to a leg injury. And I know Brooks Jensen and Nico aren't going to do it. So it's just like, why? Like, you should have just had him lose cleanly without the leg injury and then have Nico attack. I don't know why you needed the leg injury to sell this match. You didn't need to do that. But we'll see how this story plays out. After this, we end up getting an Andre Chase segment. He's packing up his bags. He's packing up all the Andre Chase equipment. He ends up leaving. You know, he closes the door. He walking down the hallway. And then you end up hearing a voice. Now, to me, the voice sounded like Duke Hudson, but I wasn't sure. But he ends up, they end up saying his name. He ends up looking back and he ends up smiling. So I'm assuming that's going to play into some type of story, some type of angle. We don't know what it's going to play into, but we'll see how that plays out. Now we end up getting Kalani Jordan versus Julia for the Iron Survivor qualifying match. This was a really good match. Putting Kalani and Julia in the same match, this is going to, of course, is going to really cook. But Julia ends up picking up the victory. I'm not even going to speak too much on it because the match was really good. This was a really good match. I'm not going to speak too much on it because we all know Kalani is going to be in the second chance. I forgot what they call it whenever the people that lose and then they put them in a match. But she's going to get another shot to see if she ends up being in the Iron Survivor. I don't think she really needs to be in the Iron Survivor, if I'm being honest. But they probably will put her in it just for star power reasons. But we'll see how that plays out. Now we end up getting Eddie Thorpe. Now, for the last few weeks, maybe even longer, they've been doing this thing where Eddie Thorpe keeps wanting the attention of Ava. Ava can't give it to him, and then recently he ends up losing his match due to interference, his Iron Survivor qualifying match, and then he kind of feels like he's been kind of disrespected because he keeps being ignored, and then he finally ends up, Ava tonight ends up announcing, the whole second chance thing with the Iron Survivor. He feels like it's still unfair because he got his matches interfered. He feel like he shouldn't need a multi-man match. He keeps trying to talk to Ava, but then Ava turns away, and then he ends up like grabbing Ava's hand. Then she ends up, telling him not to touch her. Then this is all happening while all the tag teams are brawling. All the tag teams are brawling. And then one of the tag teams accidentally ends up getting shoved into the door, knocking Ava to the ground. Then Ava recovers, ends up talking about how she was talking to Eddie Thorpe, and then that's when it happened. And then Shawn Michaels starts holding Eddie Thorpe. He ends up pushing him all the way towards like the garage, the garage door or whatever, and ends up telling him to leave. I don't know what they're doing with Eddie Thorpe. I'm going to be honest. I am not interested. The reason why I'm not interested is because Eddie Thorpe gives me Daniel Garcia vibes, where they do this thing where they give him a story, push him, stop, push him, stop, push him, stop. Like, what? Like, it gets like... And to be honest, I'm not the biggest Eddie Thorpe fan anyway. I think he's fine, but yeah, I just don't know what they're doing here. And also, I understand the angle they're going for with he hit Ava. Like, come on. Like, really? Like, really? That's the angle we're going with, is that he hit Ava? Like, really? Come on, bro. Like, even if Ava ends up, like, come on, man. Like, I feel like this could easily be solved, but I understand what they're going for. But we'll see how this plays out. But I'm not really that excited for this storyline. I just find it boring. I find Eddie Thorpe boring, and I'm not gonna get my hopes up because it's just the same thing they always do. They push him for a bit, stop it, push, then stop, push, then stop. Like, no, I'm not. No. If you're gonna do something, turn him heel. If he turns heel, maybe I could find it, but no. Him as a face, no, I just can't. Now we end up getting Trick Williams. He cuts a promo. I'm not gonna speak too much on his promo, really. But then you end up getting Rich Holland. He comes out. Then you end up getting Eric Bischoff, of all people. He pops on a Titantron, and he basically ends up saying he's going to be there next week, and he's going to have some type of implication on how it's going to go down Deadline. We don't know what he's going to do, but basically ends up saying that after he's done with Trick and Ridge, he's going to make them hate each other more than they already do. So I don't know what he's going to do or what type of impact he's going to have, but I'm interested to see what he's going to do. And also X-Pac is going to be there as well, so we'll see how that plays up. But I'm excited to see how that plays out. Then we end up getting the main event, Tatum Paxley versus Fallon Henley for the North American Women's Championship. This was a really good match. Really good match. This played out exactly how you would assume it played out with interferences. I didn't like the finish though because technically speaking, she technically lost cleanly to a degree. Now, she got interfered in the match multiple times, so I don't know if that's still protecting her. But technically speaking, by looking at this match, you could technically make an argument that she still lost cleanly here. Fallon Henley retains, but then after the match, you end up getting them attacking Tatum Paxley, and then you end up getting Gigi Dolin making her return, trying to get her revenge on Jacy Jayne. She ends up going after Jacy Jayne. Tatum Paxley ends up taking out Fallon Henley, and they stand tall. So I'm interested to see how this plays out. Interested in the story they're going to play here. I don't know if they're going to be friends or if this is just going to be a short alliance for a little bit until Gigi Dolin gets her revenge on Jacy Jayne, or is she going to go after the North American Women's Championship, which I do think she'll be a good part and a good role in it because I like Gigi Dolin. So I'm interested to see how that plays as well. This was overall decent episode of NXT. Can't wait to see how the go home show plays out. You guys let me know your opinions, thoughts, and opinions down below. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. But yeah, that's it.